Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and that your week is off to a good start. I wanted to just do a quick overview of the ethical reasoning assignment for this week. It is due this Sunday, the 20th. Yep. And so I just wanted to kind of point out a few things. I think it's a pretty straightforward assignment, but just to touch on a couple things here. Okay, so I have it pulled up. You can access this by going to Unit 1 in Brightspace and then clicking on the hyperlink there. It will take you to the instructions. And so I'm not going to read this introduction to you, but essentially it's just kind of talking about HIM professionals and the need to make ethical decisions. And in our case too, we're taking into consideration the Benedictine values of the college. And so I'll let you guys read that. And so prior to starting this assignment, it would be really great if you could read the Oaks and Waters, chapter 27, just to kind of talk about some of the ethical issues. You'll also be using this chapter further on into the assignment to address a couple things. There are a couple hyperlinks here. Definitely read those because this will give you insight into the actual ethical dilemma that you're going to be addressing, okay? And so here is, number 2 here is kind of the scenario that you're in as a health information manager. So you're working at a small rural hospital. The majority of the nursing staff at the hospital are using personal smartphones for clinical communication and workflow, and you're concerned with some type of HIPAA-related security risk associated with personal smartphone usage, okay? So, oh, you know what? I see here. Oh, never mind. I thought I had a typo here. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at, this is what I was referring to earlier, the Oaks and Waters textbook. There is an ethical decision-making process laid out for you on page 897. And then there's also ethical principles on pages 893 and 894, okay? And using those, I want you to address these questions, A through G, in a 3 to 5 page double-spaced paper, okay? So one thing I just want to comment on before I get too far into this is when you're writing in this academic format in a master's program, I'm going to be looking for synthesized information. And what that means is incorporating your research, incorporating the literature into your writing, okay? And so when you're writing, anytime you're making like a statement of fact, I'm just gonna, let's see, let me think of an example here okay, silly example, but the weather today is predicted to be a high of 85 degrees Fahrenheit, period, okay? Then you would say, according to so-and-so meteorologist at XYZ, they predict the high temperature to be 85 degrees based on blah, 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 okay? So I want you to be able to synthesize that information and kind of bring it together with what you're writing, okay? Support what you're saying, what you're writing with research and information, okay? This is where all of those APA citations come in, okay? I know that was a really silly example, but maybe as we go along here, I'll think of something that's a little bit more related to what we're talking about. So, sorry. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to identify what is the ethical question or dilemma related to this this situation of nurses using their personal smartphones for clinical care, essentially, okay? What are the facts, both known facts and what are the facts that you need to gather, the information that you need to gather, okay? Take some time and research some of the information around personal smartphone device usage in healthcare, okay? So here, I guess right away here. So if you find that a fact that, say, personal smartphone usage in healthcare is one of the leading causes of HIPAA violations in the United States. I have no idea if that's true or not. But if you're making a statement like that, you need to support that. Okay, so, and this is evidenced by such and such research study, whatever it is. Okay, based on a research done by such and such organization. Okay, so that's kind of where that comes in. All right, then address who the stakeholders are. Who has kind of some skin in the game here? Like, you know, is it just nurses? Is it HIM? Is it, let's see, is it physicians? Do they have a role in this? Like, what is the impact? And of course, the patient. You definitely want to consider the patient, okay? So think about those stakeholders and kind of from all angles, okay? So what are the options to minimize risk? So again, support clinical communicate, what are the options to minimize risk, support clinical communication, and the resolution of the issue, okay? So here's where you're definitely gonna need to do some research and in order to understand some of the ways that you can minimize risk with smartphone usage, okay? And to still support all of the workflows that need to be completed, okay? Again, I made a couple notes here. Make sure that you're looking at this from all angles and points of view. So when you're thinking about these stakeholders here, what are their points of view and how does that play into this, okay? Next, what is the decision? Identify how you would go about addressing the situation of nurses using personal smartphones to communicate clinical information. So obviously, as a HIM professional, you need to understand the ethical principles that are involved with this and with the decision-making around this. And you need to understand why, you know, people make the decisions that they do. And so what ethical principles are at play in your own decision-making? Explain the theory or theories, how they relate to the scenario and how it relates to your decision-making. And definitely incorporate the information. Here's where I have, we no longer use the 5th edition. So I'm going to delete that while I'm on here with you guys. So use the ethical principles to discuss that, okay? Definitely cite the Oaks and Waters textbook. I'm going to make myself a note. I'm going to come back to that as well, the citation for the Oaks and Waters textbook. And then next, you're going to want to talk about what justifies your decision. So I've provided links here to the Benedictine values and the AHIMA Code of Ethics, and those would be great things to incorporate into your decision-making process, okay? Why did you make the decision that you made in order to rectify the situation, prevent minimize risk, those things, okay? So you kind of have to, you know, in number 6 there, you need to come up with, number 6, oh my goodness, you guys, letter E there, you need to come up with a decision. How are you gonna tackle this problem and what are you gonna implement in order to minimize risk and prevent like HIPAA violations and, you know, all of that good stuff, okay? And so justifying your decision with support from the AHIMA Code of Ethics, Benedictine values is what I'll be looking for there, okay? And then other preventative measures, you know, what can be done so it's not repeated again in the future, okay? So the deliverables is really just the paper, okay? Addressing those questions above, 3A to 3G, using ethical decision-making model and your own research skills. It should be 3 to 5 pages, double space, Times New Roman, use 1-inch margins. Be sure to cite your sources within your writing and include a reference page, okay? So the one thing I do want to mention here, and I don't know if I have it with me right now. Oh, here it is, my APA manual. But it's really important to understand that Oaks and Waters are not the actual authors of the Oaks and Waters textbook. They're editors, okay? And so whenever you have editors, there are specific guidelines for citing that source, okay? Sorry, I should have had this pulled up before I started this recording, but I'm gonna see what I can do here, if I can find it. So what I wanna say here is that in an in-text citation, you're going to want to cite the actual authors of the chapter that you're pulling the information from, okay? So in this case, it was it will probably most likely be the authors of chapter 27, which off the top of my head, I'm not sure who that is at this moment, but you're gonna want to note those authors, okay? The other thing is that when you cite the actual source on the reference page, you're also going to identify Oaks and Waters as editors, but the authors' surnames that you're going to list first, you know, it's the surnames followed by the date of publication, followed by the title. Those author names need to be the authors of the chapter. And then the title that you're going to list first will be the title of the actual chapter. So in this case, ethical issues in health information management. And then that's followed by the Oaks and Waters editor information. I'm just going to quick do I'm sorry, I should have had this pulled up earlier. Here we go. I'm getting close here. You know what? I'm going to have to, this 7th edition, the book is not as user friendly. Oh, here we go. Chaptered in an edited book without a DOI is probably what you would use. And go to page 326 in the 7th edition of the APA manual, and you'll see there guidance on how to cite this cite the Oaks and Waters book appropriately, okay? And so that's really important. You're gonna be using this throughout the course, and so definitely take this opportunity in these first couple assignments to work on that and to get that right. So last thing to mention here is that I'm going to be, you know, obviously going a lot easier on you guys at the beginning here and giving you a lot of feedback on your APA. So definitely make sure that when you're reading my feedback, that you're looking at all the attachments and different things that I'm sharing with you to make sure you understand. So I'll use MS Word markup a lot to give you guidance on APA formatting. And so make sure that you're looking at that and reading it. If you have any questions, obviously reach out to me. I'm happy to help you with APA. Obviously I'm still maybe a little rusty on the 7th edition, and I'm constantly using my book and the resources from the library. So definitely reach out if you need help, and I'm going to do my very best to provide you with guidance on that. Okay, enough talking from me at this point. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks.